Because, to my understanding, pretty much no one knows about it. I don't know about it, and I've played for forever. So, just wondering.
Mm-hmm. No, like I think the Hawken universe is pretty great. It's pretty impressive. And really, anything we come across that I don't know if there's something that's unpublished or if there's I don't know things in that direction, but I definitely want to make those things happen and be shown again.
Hmm. A follow-up question to that is, considering it was never really pushed like Hawken Genesis was in the public to the
Mm-hmm.
Hawken community, will you be pressing? I guess you should probably do something to press Melee in some way. I would think because it was never pressed out to the Hawken community like Genesis was.
Oh, that's kind of a bummer.
Yeah, trust me, I don't think it's not on the website when you look up the fan area. It only mentions Genesis. It's just not there, and I don't ever think there was a forum post about it or anything.
Oh,
All
wow,
right, so I think we're going to try to limit
disappointing.
these to about a minute or so,
Mhm.
unless you have something else really important, Tree.
Yeah, that's fine. That's pretty much it. I'm just giving him some context.
All right, cool.
Okay, we have a Twitch question from Improbable Lobster. Do you guys want to hire former Adhesive employees?
I'd like to. I don't know that we're not like we haven't like identified individuals or something. I was just actually talking with the new tech lead today, and we were going over some source stuff. He's all set up now, and ultimately it'll be up to him. Like he's built teams in the past, so I don't want to constrain him with anything because he's quite the expert when it comes to the engineering. But we're not opposed to it. No, maybe that's the best way to say.
Tickle, you got the next TS question?
Actually, yes. Devotion actually is streaming himself, and he has said that he has people in his Twitch stream that he would like to discuss their questions. So I'm going to give him talking power.
That's a cool idea.
Devotion, you have the floor.
Okay, so I'm streaming right now, and one of my viewers, Jedi-tastic, is asking, can you ask them if they have plans to make Hawken action figures, please? I want one.
That would be so cool. Honestly, I'm completely open to it. The only consideration is, I mean, how much effort's going to take. I know there was some push in the past for like 3D printing type companies, so you could get a figurine or something like that. I really don't know how far, or like if there's anything there, or if we'd have to completely rebuild relationships and things like that.
Layla action figure, please, because reasons.
So you're saying it'd be a big seller. No, I think that stuff's fun. I just don't want to distract actual game development. So that would just take a back burner if sort of push comes to shove in any situation.
Seems reasonable. Thank you.
All right.
Seth Sampson has a question with why this game isn't in third person.
I don't know. Do you mind
if I take that one?
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
Okay, because from a competitive perspective, if the third-person aspect were to be introduced, people would be forced into it because it provides you with much more information than the first-person perspective.
User requested talk power. User joined your channel.
If third person were to be introduced, it would be necessary. It would become necessary for the competitive scene, and this is already a competitive FPS. So why would you change that?
Yeah, it was a big raging debate in MechWarrior Online, wasn't it?
So I think that from a competitive perspective, having servers where third person could be enabled is something that could be discussed, but having it just so that anybody can choose to be in third person at any time is going to completely ruin the current game.
Yeah, I could see the objection. I know there's all kinds of really interesting mutators in some of the private server code. I'd imagine this might be something that could go in. I'm not sure if there's a technical reason though that it's not there though. So that's kind of the big unknown.
Third person does exist. I've never seen third person with a HUD, but I have seen people play in third person without one.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of an interesting experience, but like you say, you can see stuff.
Okay.
All right, I had a very random thing happen in my Twitch channel or Twitch chat window It says Shockwave Flash has just crashed. So
That's all right, I
if
can see
I
all the
if I
questions.
disappear, it could be my computer's needs a reboot.
Don't touch a thing.
I will not do anything. I will only shoot mechs.
Let's see. I have a question from Saturday Yed. I'm actually a little unclear of this, so I'm going to grant him talk power. The question is when are we getting okay, so it's actually a two-part question. When are we getting a clan system, and will there be support for machinima? Okay, so here let's address the first thing. When are we getting a clan system?
Clan system. It's gonna have to be built from scratch, as best as I can tell, unless there was some development stuff that we just haven't seen.
Talk power.
As I understand, Meteor had created some clan support attempts and ultimately scrapped it. So really, it's fresh design time, I think. I want to try to revive whatever work they had done and go through any docs that are available and I think move from there. But the clan support's just awesome. I think it's fantastic ideas.
Channel.
It's just fun.
Can you hear me?
User joined your channel. User
Can hear
requested
something now.
talk power.
Yes. We
Okay. The other part of my question is, will there be any like proper machinima support, such as like having multiple people on the same explore map function?
Oh, gotcha. So you can do.
Videos and stuff.
I would like that. I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't believe it's like some
User
huge
joined your
development effort
channel.
either. So any place where we can add more support for that kind of activity is just I want to put it in. Maybe it's a philosophical answer.
Is that something that's like complex to code in?
I'm not
'cause we
sure. I
already
mean, it's
have
really
it
just.
there,
I
right?
think for the most part,
User
things
joined
like
your channel.
just better free-flying camera observer type code is
Right.
pretty good. I mean, it kind of ends up being like specifically what kind of features would work best or need to be supported, and I think it's just a matter of figuring out when to put them in. I'm completely supportive of it, though. Yeah.
Alright, cool.
All right, and we're gonna move on.
All right. I think a Twitch question.
Yep. We have Bacon Avenger. Was the tech debt able to be investigated today, as we mentioned in an earlier stream? If so, how are things looking?
He's got all access stuff, so he's going to be working on source code today. He's going to do the naive approach of, hey, let's just see if it builds. And if it builds, hey, that's fantastic. But I really, really doubt that. So he's going to be digging into source code like today and this weekend and next week. He's got a few other projects he sort of has to wrap up, but he's really excited. So I got to talk through, give him a full update on where things are at, community, game, balance, stuff I'm seeing in-game, hopes and dreams. I think I've got him sufficiently prepped for, I don't know, all the various ways that we could go and things to kind of keep in mind and keep an eye for. And we're going to be talking really closely. It's pretty nice. He actually lives pretty nearby me, so I can bother him pretty easily.
As if distance ever stopped me.
That's true. Magic of cell phones.
So I've got something from Archmech. He well, actually, here Archmech, I'm going to grant you talking power to ask that. Okay. All right, you're free to talk.
So, I don't remember the old free mech rotation. If I remember correctly, it was something monthly or bi-monthly. What's the current one, and what's your thoughts on making it weekly?
We're going to try weekly this week. We literally just put up the new ones about 15 minutes ago.
Yep.
No, there I go.
They were posted.
Okay, so now somebody tell me, is the double XP working right now?
Are we
They
supposed to have a
wouldn't-
double XP weekend right now?
They wouldn't know until we told them that it's working.
Okay, next time I kill somebody, look, see how many XP points.
That's why. Yes, it is working.
Oh, good.
So we have double XP weekend.
Yes, right now.
And you heard it here first.
Yeah, Cluster and Devotion were talking about how it was really weird that they were getting a ton of extra points right now. So, I guess that's that.
Well, the festivities have begun.
Yes, enjoy.
Okay, we have Creator dead, so how much of the original team is working on Hawken?
None right now.
Yep. That was a quick one.
Well,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's a definitive answer. I guess I can say that.
Let's see. What are your current priorities as far as Hawken is concerned?
Let's see. So the big ones are
That's
that.
devotion, by the way.
Okay. Let's see. So we've got the forums and support and the website and the game and everything. We've got the private servers up. We've got source code access. We have access for project management stuff. Pretty much all the original core systems are functional now. Like analytics and full reporting has to be rebuilt still, but that's not critical by any means. The next step is going to be things like I want to consolidate, like at least in the North America region, and see what it'll take to actually put the names, like an indicator of where the actual servers are in the server list. There's a lot more stuff in the tools that I want to explore and to identify the true state of development for a lot of things, because there's a lot of stuff in the design docs that may or may not have been developed that way. And like in the back end, there are options that I can see for like parameter values that they're not in the docs, at least in that form. So it's a process of rewiring them up and figuring out what actually does what. And then as far as the tech front goes, it's source code. It's really find out the state of the source code.
Merle has a question. And
Merle, get in line.
Go ahead, Tickle. Read the next one.
Well, it's actually Tiggs.
All right.
I guess I'm going to ask this question even though he was answered because we touched upon this in our first QA. It was from Aerodin. How do I remove the second assault mech I have? And Josh, we discussed that earlier.
Mm-hmm. Or as far as...
Well, right now he can't, but we discussed earlier about
Whoa.
having that option because there's too many in the garage.
Yeah, that's kind of lame. Selling it would be the nicest thing. Realistically, it would take full client patch and stuff. We'll take some, but you take it. Like, mention what you see as the couple of options.
Tiggs.
I'm sorry.
Tiggs? Oh, can
What
you
was that?
mention the sorry. mention the options that you think are probably the best.
I would like to see a sell back and it kind of go by depreciation.
Yeah, I think
Players
that'd be
haven't
cool.
mentioned any suggestions really.
None at all.
No. They just
But-
ask for it, but there's never any suggestions about it. So if you have suggestions, post on our forums.
Okay. I have a question from Teeth_03. What are the chances we can lower the time between matches? And this was actually something we were discussing a little earlier regarding player retention and servers and match balancing.
I think it's a good idea. I'm going to look to see if that's a configurable variable. That's one of the things I want to try to find in the next week. See if it's configurable or if it's hard-coded someplace. And I think I'll put a topic up at some point, like in the forums, because I can imagine somebody probably likes it. I know I would rather have just messed with my mech between matches, either buy something or change out loadout or something. And I always thought, well, I don't have enough time, but you just got to do that before. So I'm guessing that they tried to satisfy both of those use cases, just waiting for a match and actually adjusting your mech and loadout. I think we just need to go with one.
My turn.
Yep, go ahead.
We have Lost Cosmonaut. I would like to know if you guys are going to change the market or add more
User joined
weapons,
your channel.
etc.
Adding more weapons will be a thing to take with extreme caution, just to make sure it's done well. I'd like to. I think it would be really neat. I think the questions are probably going to be maybe adjust weapon. I'm distracted here. Okay. I'm not sure what the solution is going to be, but yeah, I'd imagine we're going to, but not something hastily done.
All right. So I have another question from Devotion, and he's asking about some of the controversial issues regarding within Hawken, such as InSim tech, air compressor balance decisions, and the health orbs. Do you currently have any stance on those?
I mean, it sounds as though the Orb Lord build, it's just too powerful. So I'd imagine that a lot of people have mentioned, well, you can just sort of drop the amount of health that your deployed health orbs give out a little bit. That seems like a possible way to approach it. Things like the incinerator and tech build or combo, definitely something to take with a lot of respect. I think soon we're gonna have a topic about that and really pull in all the ideas. And I don't want to just nerf them completely or like take them out entirely. I don't think we have to. I think it's a matter of bringing it all in balance so that it doesn't become the de facto sort of thing you have to do in order to compete.
I guess an augment to that question would be, do you plan on changing fundamentally the mechanics of the incinerator / technician, or are you just planning on tweaking some of the numbers?
I would hope that you can just tweak the numbers, but I mean, we're willing to go with more drastic changes if it's just not making sense. If that kind of answers, like, I would prefer just a tweak rather than spend a lot of time on redoing it. It would be nice if we didn't have to redo it entirely. That's where I'm coming from, the very pragmatic side.
Okay, we have hygienists. Can we get the story behind the call signs Captain Josh and Lady Tiggs?
Captain Josh. I don't know. There was a friend in like junior high, I think, said it once. I don't know why. Maybe we had some Captain Crunch recently or something. And so it just sort of stuck, and so kind of kept it for a while. I thought, you know what, it works.
And for me, I was nicknamed Tigger as a kid because I was very hyper. And working for EA, it stayed as Tigger. And then as I slowly moved through the industry, I think it was Star Wars Galaxy switched me to Tiggs. And then with APB and Fallen Earth, it was Tiggs, and I switched to Lady Tiggs, a version of it for Hawken.
Oh, there we go. Actually, this is the point in time where Merle actually would be in line here, so I'm going to let him voice his question.
So my question was, Josh, a few days ago we talked about moving one of the private servers onto the central region, even if it is still in the East browser. Has that happened yet? / which one of them are you planning on switching? / when can I expect that to happen?
I haven't done it yet. I think it makes sense, and I want to. It would go on to Central, and shoot, I'm not sure the number right offhand, but it should show up as like the name. I guess like what would be the best way to make it obvious then? Maybe that's what we have to do.
Well, I was just thinking that you could take one of the existing servers, say the TPG headquarters server, since that's the server that the TPG League is supposed to officially use, and that should be on Central, and just put it on the Central region.
Actually, yeah, let me just write that down really quick, so I do not miss it. Yay for writing down.
All right.
There we go.
Tiggs, all you.
Dominic White, are there any plans to expand on the PvE content that there is currently? It seems a solid foundation that could be built on.
Yes. I think it makes a lot of sense. It's purely just going to be a timing of when. I think it's a pretty natural fit to do campaign type stuff. It's downloadable content. It's very cohesive. We have the story for it. It should be a matter mostly then of design and then implementing. Obviously, then it depends on what sort of happens in the next 6, 8, 9, 10 months or something. I would have to say it's going to be a ways out. But I find it a very compelling idea. I mean, obviously there has to be like some sufficient level of success and size and things like that, but yeah. Let's see.
Actually, that is interesting. I've never actually heard anyone in either of the development teams at this point state that they wanted to do more PvE content, and I certainly didn't think that would be occurring. So thank you for that. The next question would be from Mambarino in TeamSpeak. What are the plans for more G2 mechs?
Let's see. First is going to be complete anything that exists already. And I mean, I think more mechs makes sense. I don't think we'll want to have like one every 3 weeks or something, or one every other week. That just seems way too many. But I think a fairly regular cadence of new mechs would be kind of nice.
Well, he's actually referencing the G2 series, which we've seen with the G2 Raider and the G2 Assault, which are basically just re-implementations of existing concepts.
Oh, so literally it's just riffing on what's existing or already there.
In some sense, like the G2 Raider is it's the Raider with just slight damage tweaks, and it's a C class and a small tweak to the ability. But other than that, it's roughly the same thing. The G2 Assault is the Assault with 2 Vulcans, but roughly similar stats and the same ability. And the G2, and I think everybody's so far expected the G2 mechs to continue along those ways. There is a large kind of sub-culture of the Hawken community that thinks that the G2 concept should be scrapped, but there's also a fair amount of people who kind of enjoy it. So I believe, as far as Adhesive was concerned, they wanted them to be more of just new content that they could bring out. It wasn't meant to be something like used competitively, but something interesting that they could do. So if we're referencing G2, I figured I should at least bring in that level of context.
Okay, no, yeah. I think they're interesting. I'd like to be able to. I don't want to just be plowing stuff out though for the sake of, I don't know, having the latest blingy thing. Or like what's it seems like they could be all right. I just don't want to be offensive to the entire game and community and stuff, but they're interesting. Like the latest and greatest is
so
fun.
far the theme with the G2 mechs has been that they're sort of gimmicky but fun to play.
Okay.
There's a strong contingent of players that loves the G2 Raider, myself.
Right. I mean,
User
it's
joined
not
your
like a
channel.
terrible mech, but it's certainly not very strong. Anyway, we're getting kind of off topic. Let's go to the next one.
Tigs all you.
Your screen is black, Josh.
Yeah, I know. My computer's needing a reboot, and it's really distracting me. It's very stressful.
Okay.
So I'm trying to just limp along whenever something crashes.
Pupalo, could you guys make it so that your mech is tunable? Like add some sliders that give it a variety. For example, slide the armor slider to the
User
left
joined
for
your
less
channel.
armor, but more overall speed. What do you think about that?
That seems like the direction that the tuning system would have to go for it to work. I'm hesitant to just commit or jump into that sort of thing in particular, just because it would mess with balance. I don't really want to embark on a big overhaul of things that throws all kinds of things out of balance. That's my initial thought anyways. It'd be an impressive upheaval of all kinds of things, and I don't think we want to do that at this stage. I'd prefer... Yes, I am.
Well, I was going to say, to piggyback off of that, there was a tuning point system before. I don't know if you're aware of that. And what ended up happening, and the reason that it was removed, was because there was basically one optimal build for every mech, and if you weren't running that build, you just weren't competitive. So the devs pretty much made every mech have a set build. The system's actually still in there. It's just hidden from the general user base.
Right. Because like the goal is sort of player choice in the sort of style of play that your mech gets. So obviously it didn't work out that way with the previous system, and I think the internal system can do it in items.
User joined your channel.
Again, like the big thing is I don't want to embark on a big overhaul because Hawken doesn't really need that. I don't think. I think we can get the kind of diverse gameplay and the really interesting stuff through. I mean, a lot of people advocate just maps. I think by adding mechs on occasion that are fairly well balanced, it can help with that. That's the sort of related tangential questions.
Okay. So Silhuri is asking, what are you capable of doing to the game without needing client patches?
Well, we can do things like that's what I'm discovered this week. things like obviously the XP multiplier. It appears that we can change award rates for things like for XP or HC per mech. There are some older systems that are in unknown states of implementation. Let's see, we can do different servers. I think we can mess with like server rotation type things like the maps. Possibly some of the mutators in the servers. I don't know that we really want to mess with that though. What else can we do? Obviously pricing. We can. There are a few items that were enabled or disabled over time, so those can be available. Those are the ones that jump to mind. I'm sure I'm forgetting a really big one though.
Okay, triple megahertz. Would you guys plan on adding more customization, like allowing for different weapon types, being able to set on a different mech types, like a weapon from a heavy mech could be placed on a light mech?
I'm open to that. We would just have to make sure that it's sort of naturally balanced, or there's an organic process of making sure it's balanced at least. Because you don't want to just be able to run around with the biggest, beefiest gun in the game with a super fast mech, because I think there's some danger of.
Mini flag
that already happens. I mean,
yeah.
the flak cannon is on the scout and on the brawler.
And in the pre-alpha build, weapons were freely transferable between mechs, but the devs found that it made that there was no actual balance, and every mech wound up using the same set of weapons.
Ah, okay. So again, it sounds very much like the tuning system scenario.
Yeah.
So really, it's just I don't want to implement something that doesn't actually end up having any positive effect. That would be kind of a bummer. But I'm open to it. I think it just needs to be balanced and identified how to do it or how to balance it well.
Yeah, a lot of these suggestions are really good, but they've already happened and they've already kind of not quite worked. Anyway, next question.
So the next question will be from Pariah and the TeamSpeak, and the question is simply call sign changes, and I think that might need to be a little bit of elaboration there. So I'm going to grant him talking power. Pariah,
sorry that I ended up like elaborating because I didn't really think it through. It's kind of like a problem. So like I've first of all, thanks for picking up the game. I really love Hawken. I loved it ever since like I first heard of it, and it was really sad whenever it was canceled. You know.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that happens a lot nowadays, but thank you for picking it up, and I hope you guys can definitely make the old devs proud wherever they may be.
Yeah, me too.
So my question is like call sign changes. You know, I reserved the call sign back when I was like 15. Whenever I first saw the. Yeah, you could probably tell what's wrong there. So, like, I get picked on it a lot from my friends, and the old devs didn't offer call sign changes, so I've basically been refraining from playing this game a lot just because I get picked on due to my call sign. Is there any way, you know, could you possibly implement like a call sign change system? Because I can understand why you want to keep it from being changeable, because people can be toxic and hackers and stuff who just change their name. So I was wondering, like, you know, if you probably won't be able to make it free. Maybe you can make it one time. Maybe you can make it take meteor credits. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it should happen. I don't know why it didn't happen before. So
I mean, I know the support did it just for violations previously.
Right.
But I'm definitely with Josh on that it should be something, and naturally, yeah, we'll have it as a pay service for that, just so we don't get slammed with a ton of people.
Yeah, back when I worked on a different game years ago now, I guess, there's a character name change scroll that people would buy, and it's just remarkable how creative you can be to exploit things. So obviously the name change was part of a big deal to avoid detection, but
especially with free-to-play games.
Yeah. So sometimes it's really odd things like, hey, yeah, we're just going to let more players be involved in the auction house or something. You end up getting massive fraud then, where it didn't exist until you did that. It's so I'm not opposed to. I think it should happen. I think it's a good idea.
My last question is team balances in game.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, like, actually, I'm playing right now. I'm going 23-9. Like next round, like it'll get scrambled, and then it'll be 9-23. That's a problem like that me and my friends often have, is that games either like often are really lopsided. Do you have any plans or ways that you could balance that out to make every game more interesting?
Yeah, there's going to be some effort put into the matchmaker. Definitely.
Go ahead and finish that one, but we're going to
I'm
try to
done.
limit it to one question.
Yeah. No, I
Sorry
agree. The
about that.
matchmaker can use some help. There are ways to make it better, and we're going to be putting effort into that. Yeah.
From Improbable Lobster, any plans for a spectator mode or a replay function? I know those are difficult to implement and take a good long while.
It could, and we'd mentioned the spectator mode before. I think I would hope it's not too nasty to do, but I think it sounds like it just needs to be sort of fixed up a little bit, and probably just bug fix type of things.
The spectator mode exists, but currently the servers do not have dedicated slots for spectators, and the spectator system is incredibly buggy and difficult to use. So it should be able to happen, but it's just a question of time and priorities.
Basically,
priorities.
Lovely word, isn't it? It's where all great ideas go to die.
So I've got a question from Devotion's Twitch stream. Jedi-tastic is asking, any plans to ban aim modders or hackers? I guess this can be lumped in with the concept of what's the anti-cheat situation with Reloaded so far.
Mm-hmm. We've had games over the years that have had everything from Punkbuster to, I don't know, there's some fancy other ones from like former Defense Department contractors or something. And I mean, they have various levels of success. Partly it's sort of your luck of what hacker type decides to take an interest in the game, because they have different skill sets and they can get around things. Ultimately, we know it ends up sort of being like an arms race. So just client-side anti-hack obviously doesn't fix stuff entirely. It's not a 100% solution, but it does help address things. Server-side type stuff we definitely want to explore. We have had some success with a number of solutions in the past. So yeah, it's going to be how do we balance putting those things in? How bad is the issue at the time?
I guess a natural progression of that question would be, are there plans to implement some sort of community reporting system like they used to have?
I would like to. I know there are ways to do it well and ways to do it very poorly. So I think in-game reporting helps, because ultimately players, like you guys, see suspicious stuff, and when a number of different players see the suspicious stuff, we just need to basically get a short list of who to really look closely at, because we don't want to have to look at every single person. It's impossible. So I think that's the natural benefit of player reporting is, at the very least, we can get a hot list, if that makes sense.
And weeding out those that think others are cheating when they're just really good at the game.
Right. Yeah. Well, and also, I guess, what I know that blatantly cheating is going to get punished, but what about just general toxicity?
The toxicity stuff really sucks. Yeah.
Yeah, it falls under the whole terms
User
of service
disconnected from your
harassment.
channel.
Yeah, I do believe though that like just hard banning based on someone who's kind of being a jerk or something, like, just really ticks them off too. So I'd hope that talking a little bit can help.
Yeah.
But that's the optimistic side of me. I know sometimes people are just in places where they just really don't care. And it's a bummer, but I don't know.
Ecosplosion, would there be any chance we could ever have type ABC only game modes?
Oh, that'd be kind of interesting. I mean, I suppose it's possible. I know some people have mentioned different game modes kind of fragment or split up the player pool, so that's kind of the only downside, I'd imagine. It'd be kind of cool to be able to find out, to actually try it, because I know there's a lot of great ideas, and I'd love to get in a position where we can quickly implement at least a prototype to get some idea of true interest and go from there. But I mean, if people seem to dig it, yeah.
All right. I have a question from the TeamSpeak Impulse875. What is the largest balance issue that you see right now?
Other than Tiggs is greatly underpowered.
Yeah, Tiggs is the antithesis of OP. Let's see. It feels like things like the Orb Lord build could probably be made to be a little less dominant, just through stat change stuff. The Incinerator tech combo. I'm hesitant to jump into that one like as a first volley or something, of course. The biggest thing ultimately is like vets and brand new players. The skill difference is so bigger that they're so bigger. It's so big that it's no fun when that happens. So to me, I think if we can figure out how to make it so that it works really really well for all parties involved, or at least better than it is now, that's what I really want to figure out, I think. And after that is going to be, well, during all that, it's going to be what stuff can we change through just configuration type stuff. And I think we're going to talk a lot about it. I don't want to just pull a bunch of massive changes off the bat or unannounced.
Lord Cosmonaut, would you ever consider adding customizable windshields? By that I mean like the radar and your skills, etc., would be on your window to look at all digital like.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be
I gotta be
cool.
honest.
I vote for that too.
Yeah, I kind of want to. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, customization of your mech just seems like it'd be so fun in this game. I would love to be able to paint it how I want it painted, or have my own logo or something someplace.
All right. Sir Tree of Arbor has another kind of loaded question here. Would you agree that many mechs are cookie cutter to an extreme, i.e. Vanguard, Zerker, Assault, CRT? And by that he means the standard, like a sustained weapon and burst weapon on the same mech, like the tow and like the SMC, or the SMC and the grenade launcher, as well as some of those abilities like just flat damage boosting or the heat reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree that they're cookie cutter, or I would personally say that they're just necessary implementations of the game? Because I mean, where do you get? You have to build up something, but hey.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I can see the direction. It would be really, really cool to have very diverse mechs. I mean, like League of Legends, just as the archetype, you have a hero that has a drastically different set of specials and abilities, or like how you have to play them and stuff. That would be kind of cool. Obviously, there's a zillion of them. I don't think we need to get to a zillion of them. But again, it's sort of, you can't really do all those until you get a really solid base of understanding about how the game is right now, and then I don't know what would work without being too drastic. And it probably just takes a lot of time and effort in the QA and testing process. But I'm all for like adding really diverse and interesting abilities or ways that the mech works. I'm not we're kind of limited because we have bipedal mechs, and generally speaking, they have a gun in one hand and another gun or a rocket or something in the other hand. So I don't know if that's a particularly great answer, though, to be honest.
Sergeant Rock, what are the plans for increasing visibility of this game? Large-scale marketing?
Large-scale marketing will come, I think, in tandem with a growth in interest. Like that, one of the things that our execs have really come to over time is that you just got to pick a percentage of your gross revenue and just put it into marketing somehow, and then it's a question of being efficient with it. I'm of that opinion too. I have seen a whole lot of way overpriced marketing rates for things. Like in the US, really, in order to even get your ads to show on Facebook, in a lot of cases, you're going to be spending like what comes out to about $5 per registration for North America. It is really expensive. So I don't want to just go down the straight route of like display advertising. It's always good. It's always to be part of the strategy, I guess, but
word of mouth always works.
Word of mouth is
very
by
well
far the best.
Yeah. And Steam. Word of mouth over Steam.
Yeah, definitely.
Tiggs, did you take the last one, or is it my turn?
That was me. We need to move through these a little bit quicker because I'm still
Yeah,
at
yeah.
7:10 p.m.
Yep.
and we're at 7:42.
Oh my.
So there was a question here that's asking about changing the call signs. Josh actually had addressed that. So I'm going to go on to the next one, and it's about private servers. It's it's Teeth03. He just wants a little bit more information about them, and how to go about obtaining them or applying for them or anything of that nature.
So the private server is very prototype. It was sort of left off before it was actually monetized, before they actually had them generally available. They didn't want to start them up because at that point they knew that things were going downhill, which I got to give them credit. That was pretty cool. So I have to rebuild the sort of back end, or not back end, but the end user admin thing, where you kind of define what you can control and what the maps should be or something like that. And really then we got to wire it up to actually make it something you can sort of get and I don't have to do personally all the time. That's kind of where we're at. I think I'll set up a few more just to get some more feedback, and it's just time. That's one of the things I want to do over the next few weeks, definitely, is get the remaining part of that set up and operational. Apparently there are some bugs with it at the very end, but it's something just to fix.
All right. It is worth pointing out that it is about 8:45. There's 15 minutes left here. Some of these questions, if we keep asking at this rate, are not going to be gotten around to. We'll go out to the end of the hour. But
okay.
And I'm going to start jumping around in some of my questions too because I'm not even moved a minute in the last 20 minutes.
If,
And I want to give some of those that just joined a chance to ask questions as well.
yeah.
all right, your turn.
User left your channel.
Hold on. Is there some way, this is from Prop the Redstoner, how about some way to burn all your fuel at once to launch yourself forward at an absurd speed?
Kind of fun.
Suicide.
I know there were some designs for some interesting abilities or internals. Things like, I don't know, if you jet forward and you run into somebody while you're boosting, it does damage or something. Or I'm not sure if they've been built, but melee chainsaws. I think it'd be interesting. Like ultimately, these are going to be abilities and internals that it's just make sure that they make sense and balance out and stuff.
Okay. Let me find my place again. A lot of posts keep occurring. I have to find it continually. This is Devotion, one of Devotion's viewers again, Jedi Tasked. Are they going to make a fully flying mech that can go higher, that doesn't run out of... I don't know if I can really continue reading that. Are they going to make a fully flying mech, is what he's asking. Are we going to have airplanes? I suppose that's a concern.
It seems like it'd be fun to fly them. I can see how that could kind of change a lot about how things operate. The maps I know are definitely, I don't think they've been designed for that kind of a mech. I think there's a lot of unexpected considerations with them. I could imagine that there could be like an internal or a mech that can boost higher, possibly significantly. I don't know.
Fair enough.
But like ultimate, I don't know about having an actual like drone type thing that could just fly around. Maybe you could have one where you control it with your. You control it with your cell phone or something.
Actually, I've never seen a suggestion for an internal that allows you to boost higher than usual. Which so I suppose that question did have some good value there.
Yeah.
I got triple megahertz. Do you think you guys would consider adding a more detailed options menu?
Like for video settings and stuff like that?
I'm gonna assume so.
Yeah, I'm open for that. I don't know. I know it always ends up being tricky to actually make it, and there's always always kind of reluctant to spend dev time on it's just options. Just have people play what we made. But no, I'm open for it. Yeah, but definitely if it's a convenient, easy thing to add, well, yeah, by all means, let's do it. But I do know that there have been a lot of cases where a game has a bad user experience because it's kind of, you give more options and you're giving somebody enough rope to like hang themselves with, and they end up with horrible performance or something, and it's just a shame in that case. So that's where a dev is coming from, or a producer, why they may not want it. But I'm open to it. I think it's fun.
Okay. I have a question from Archmech that I'm going to modify a little bit because it's specific. Are there any mechs in the designs you got from ADH that you plan on finishing, and what would they be? Or
I can't say which ones they are. I'm sure you guys have sort of seen these things in the client somehow. Whatever's there, I'd love to release. I know that there's some balance and tuning and testing that needs to be required for a bunch of these things. And I know it's somewhat unclear how much work some of them are going to take, like for their special ability or something like that. So, I mean, at worst, they might end up being, I might be accused of making cookie cutter mechs or something. Because ultimately, yeah, they're going to be riffing on the same general things that a mech can do.
User joined
But
your
there's
channel.
some, I think it'd be pretty fun. I want to release them, yeah.
Buffalo, could you make it so that your mech will eventually start running after a while of walking out of battle, but still have forward boosting as a faster resort? Mostly because there's some pretty big maps and you can't get around too fast. Also, for the spectator, couldn't you make an invisible mech with no hitbox that could fly forever?
Honestly, you probably could, yeah. That might be a way to solve the spectator thing. Or so is the idea basically, if you just push forward, your mech starts running, and then the longer you run, the faster it can get. I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting. I don't know that we need it, but I can see that might. I think there'd be unexpected things. It's worth looking into, I suppose. Definitely. I can't tell if it would strategically or tactically change things too much, or
User joined your channel.
not at first blush, anyways.
Tiggs, why don't you take another one? I actually I got another message and it reset my chat log, so I don't know where I am.
Ah, nice.
Explosion. Is there a max amount of mechs you can have in your garage? He's a new player.
What have you guys seen? How many mechs? Like, who has the most mechs?
There is
User
no
joined your
limit that
channel.
I know of. People have dozens of mechs and haven't hit a limit.
There's no limit, technically speaking, but there
Practically?
is a limit. Yes, practically, and for more reasons than just being able to sort through them. It does affect the amount of time it takes for your account to sync up. And I know that there are some players. There's Elite Shooter. I'm sure he'd actually be happy for me to voice this. He has a particular issue where he just has too many mechs and his account just takes forever to sync up. And it was especially bad a little while ago.
He should reach out to me.
I'll pass along the word.
Did you catch up, or you want me to take another one?
The exact same thing happened.
Any questions that need to be directed to Tickle, please direct to me.
Ruckoria, are you ever going to make new game modes more tactics-centered, such as breaking up into squads and taking individual objectives into a larger battlefield?
I would love to. The archetype is something along the lines of like Unreal Tournaments Onslaught type maps. I mean, I'd imagine that we can do that. I would love to make that kind of game type, game mode. I'd imagine that it would work well in Hawken as well. So, and it seems as though a lot of the mechanics that you would need actually exist, which makes me happy inside.
All right. So here's actually a fitting one for tonight, because I know in the Project Phoenix post we did promise a monster mode where we give somebody a ton of extra health, and we're able to do that via private servers and modifying some stuff in the console. However, for the practical standpoint, for everybody who doesn't have that sort of access, is there a way we can implement a monster mode where it's one big guy versus the rest?
Asymmetric combat. I kind of like that sort of thing. Do you guys like that? I can't tell.
It's been fun in the past.
It's really hard to do really well.
It's hard. It's hard. It can be very hard to balance, but it can be fun.
Right.
Yeah, I think it'd be a blast, and it seems as though it's just a matter of doing that and creating a game mode, I suppose, and kind of going for it. So, I think once we get all the sort of the core stuff out of the way over the next 6-9 months type of a thing, so we're releasing updates, we're able to tangibly add stuff to the game, then I think at that point it'll be all right. What can we significantly change? What would be this first big thing that we can do? Just as a hearkening to a bit of a timeline or expectation.
All right.
Oh, serious question. When will we see Hawken merchandise? And off of that, somebody else asked as well. They want plushies and you name it.
I think that's going to be all kinds of fun.
There is actually a T-shirt that one of the community members has designed, and the proceeds do go to Reloaded or one of Reloaded's charities.
They actually go to Extra Life, which is our Reloaded Inc. has an Extra Life team, so it will go to that charity. It does not go to us directly.
Okay.
And I think I just posted, I posted the link in the channel for the T-shirts. And if you're not interested in a T-shirt, you can go directly to Extra Life and look up Reloaded Games on there, and you can donate to any of the team members. And if you're interested in joining the team, sign on up.
Okay. I have a question from the TeamSpeak. Augmentia, are we going to see any quadruped mechs in the future?
Yes, please.
Josh, you there?
Oh,
We
goodness.
lost him.
I hit my mute button.
Oh,
I thought I pushed it again, but sorry.
That happens. Did you hear the question?
Quadruped mechs.
Yes.
I think they'd be fun. They're a whole nother layer of animations and art that you have to kind of keep track of, so it makes things more complex in that sense. So I wouldn't want to have it be one of the first things we do by any means, but it also kind of turns out how much time and effort and money does it take to make one, and obviously then it's all the balance things, and I don't know. But I think it'd be fun.
Lost Cosmonaut. Can you please use my... Oh, no, we've already went over that. Sorry. Phoenix Strike. Does Reloaded have a real plan for the game on a fundamental level? There's no way they have the resources to overhaul the game again, and Hawken's old problem was that it never knew what it wanted to be, never knew the pace, the level of customization, or the amount of mech versus arena shooter it had.
Mm-hmm. It's a good question. It's a nice, difficult one. Hey, W's. That is a long name. That's pretty funny. I'm seeing it in the stream here. Let's see. I think the game as it is fun. The problems I think for new players is that it just takes a while to get used to matchmaking and stuff. I think a little more customization would be really fun. I definitely don't want to overhaul it again, because rebuilding something that's already there it's kind of tragic in a way. It's just a lot of resources that could have been used to just improve what was there. I know that some people may not love it, and there's always going to be disagreements and stuff.
User joined your channel.
I'm trying to give a really good beefy answer, but it's kind of, I don't want to change it too much from what it is right now. I don't think that'd be necessary. I think you can take some of the design ideas, I don't know, different games or something, or future games possibly could implement them differently or better. I feel like there's a lot of really good legs on this game, and I want to see that out first and foremost. I don't want to throw away what's already there. I guess that's my general approach.
So we have another question. Actually, this one was messaged to me. It's for FWKAwesome. I think it actually falls pretty well within the context of both the last question and the current state of the game as far as the last update with the assault. Hawken, you're free to speak.
Hey, so my question is about the new player experience, and I'm really impressed that you've taken that in consideration. Can you talk about that recent change that you made, and any, I guess from your perspective, any pushback from the community, and any things that you're going to do to, I guess, address maybe from the vet's perspective, and then also there are some ideas that were floated as far as giving the new players access to one of each type of mech.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Pushback. It's not been a screaming negative. I know there's some people. Generally, the pushback consists of, well, that doesn't actually solve the problem. Yeah, that's true. It doesn't solve it. I think I feel like it has helped address it somewhat, but in a lot of ways, brand new players have no idea what they're missing, and ultimately we need to give it a few days or a few weeks, I suppose, to really see if retention rates come up. But it's kind of tough because word's getting out, people are more interested in the game, and it's going to be tough to say, oh, it's the assault mech that makes the retention rate better. So, I mean, we're going to have to wait and see. I really want to hear from you guys now that it's been a few days. I think it's interesting seeing matches where it's not CRTs everywhere. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of cool. Let's see, new player experience. What was the second part?
Well, I guess the pushback from the vets, is there going to be any type of, I don't know, compensation? Because a lot of the vets have already bought the assault.
Yeah, I know, that's just disappointing. No, definitely, there's going to be some ongoing stuff. I don't feel like there's a single thing that I can say, hey, here's an equivalent promo code for it. It's great, because I think it needs to be ongoing, and I want to keep the vets in mind, to be honest. So it'll be promo codes and boost weekends, but I guess vets don't need boosts in a lot of ways. These are maxed out in a lot of ways. I think we're going to figure out how to make it worthwhile, because it helps brand new players and some players who are fairly newish and those who don't have the assault and find it interesting. I hear you. I want to make it right though.
Now, I will add that I like the idea of being able to trade your mech back in. I think that's equitable.
Mm-hmm. I would love to put that in. It doesn't seem like it should be that nasty. So maybe it'll actually be an early dev thing. We shall definitely be looking at that closely.
Great, thank you.
From Hated Heart, is there any more detailed information on new game mods? Example, the Night of the Living Fred.
new game mobs, did you say?
Modes. Sorry.
I was going to say.
Still on the small monitor.
Oh, yes. Just the... I don't have a particular game mode that I'm saying, all right, this one's going in right away. I would like to do an Onslaught type control point thing first, because that seems like it's just not as covered. A progressive thing, I mean, of course, there are control points, it's true. But are you talking I guess it's...
Hard to say where he's heading, because that's a Twitch or the Twitch stream question.
Okay.
So
I suppose I'll go back to a TeamSpeak question then. I think this might actually be the last one. It's 8:59. I think it's a good one to end the night on because it's related to new players. This is Teeth03 again. He's asking if there are any thoughts on keeping players from leaving matches, such as bonuses for staying, or in the larger scope of things, I would actually like to tack onto that any sort of adding back in achievement bonuses that Adhesive used to have. Also, but he's specifically asking for bonuses for staying within the same server.
That'd be probably a good idea, yeah. Because I agree that people just dropping out is kind of a bummer. I think reducing the time between matches might help. I know right now it seems there's incentives for HC to actually just quit as soon as you win the first time, so you move on to the different game mode. And I think it would probably make sense to do just HC bonuses along with achievements, especially for early users. I actually started looking into that in the tools to make sure that it was all still wired up and worked and things. It seems like it does.
User joined your channel.
Suppose I'd like to get a whole lot more feedback too, because something that I think might be a great idea could really suck, and I just don't realize why yet.
I'd like to remind everybody too that it is double XP weekend, and if you're in the game, you will notice a big change. And the new mechs are out, the test mechs.
Yes, test drives.
All right. Well, it is 9:01 Eastern time here, which is actually the official start of the Project Phoenix initiation celebration. Josh, I'm continually appreciative of the time you spend with the community here, and thank you very much. And thank you for everybody who showed up.
Do you want to announce your winners?
Oh, yes, we do actually have raffle winners for Tig's Hawken Hope line, and the backstory behind why it's called that is our channel. It became relatively evident that we were going to need more space in this channel, as you can kind of see by the almost 50 people in this sub-channel alone. That was actually the limit. We had a limit of 50 people. We needed to crowdfund $200 extra to raise that limit to about 150, and Tiggs decided immediately, as soon as she heard that she was going to give us $200. And we not only did we get the $200 from her, but we got money from the community as well. So we decided to put some of that extra money back into the community in the form of a raffle, $35, $25, and $10 meteor credits. And over the course of time, about 200 and something people gave me tickets for that. And so the winners are, first place is Bacon Avenger. The second place is Killer Origins, and the third place is actually a Twitter winner. I'm not sure who exactly this is within the community. It's at Angie Lube, actually. So I will be I'll be messaging each of those people in the near future, and I'll be working with Tiggs to get the meteor credits sorted out. All right. And
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Just little closing words here, shameless plug, etc. Feel free, anybody who's here, to come to this TeamSpeak whenever you want. We almost always have somebody in here who is in-game playing Hawken, and we're just trying to build the community as best we can. So you guys coming and just being on the server is one of the best ways that you can support us, because if somebody's on the server and then a new player comes in and...
User joined your channel.
Anyway, it's just, it's a lot of fun and it's a lot of help to us if you... play on the server. So yeah, shameless plug.
The server, the TeamSpeak server was created with the intention of allowing everybody kind of a space to, as a replacement for the missing voice over IP protocol that Hawken currently lacks. And so you're absolutely all welcome here at any point in time to bring your friends, set up clans. We'll set you up with your own space. But thank you very much for showing up.
Yeah, and for people on Josh's stream, it's ts5.gameservers.com:9152.
Yeah.
Well, great. I want to thank everybody that had come out in the TeamSpeak and on our Twitch channel and also on Facebook. I know there's people watching there as well. Thank you so much, and we hope to do these again. And if you are from any of our other communities, European, Asian, whatever, please feel free to reach out to me on the forums via private message. We would also like to get in touch with you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love doing these things. You guys are awesome. Like, seriously. I kind of wake up in the morning and say, I get to work on Hawken today. This is great.
All right. If you want to start participating in the games, playing some actual Hawken, feel free to check into the Project Phoenix channel above. It's the one with 12 separate groups for teams.